Welcome back to Cat Fact Class, the channel where every story brings you closer to the mysterious, beautiful heart of cats. If you love cats, emotional stories, and the hidden reasons behind feline behavior, then you are in the right place. Make sure to subscribe and stay until the end, because today's story goes deep into a question every cat lover has wondered at least once in their life. Why do cats love certain people more than others? And to answer that, I'm going to tell you a powerful, emotional story that reveals the truth in the most unexpected way. So sit back, relax, and let this story unfold. It all began on a cold December evening. The city streets were buzzing with the sounds of honking cars and hurried footsteps. But Mira could barely hear any of it. She walked slowly, her shoulders weighed down by the stress of another long shift at the bakery. Her life had become a routine of exhaustion, and even though she tried her best to stay hopeful, some days felt heavier than others. That evening, as she turned down a narrow alley on her way home, she heard it, a tiny cry, weak, trembling, almost too soft to notice. Mira froze. She waited. Then she heard it again, a fragile little meow coming from behind a row of trash bins. Something inside her shifted. She walked closer, pushing aside a damp cardboard box. And there he was, a kitten, no bigger than her hand, soaking wet from the cold drizzle, fermented and tangled, eyes wide with fear. He looked so small that Mira felt her chest tighten instantly. She hesitated only for a moment before taking off her scarf and gently wrapping it round his shivering body. The kitten didn't fight. He didn't hiss. He didn't try to escape. He simply looked up at her with those bright, pleading green eyes, as if he had been waiting for her, as if he knew she was the one who would stop, the one who would care. Mira held him close and whispered softly, "You're safe now. I'm here. I've got you." She named him Knox, after the dark, stormy color of his fur. And that single moment of compassion was the beginning of a bond she never knew she needed. From the very first night in her tiny apartment, Knox acted differently from most cats. While other kittens played energetically or explored every corner of a new home, Knox simply followed Mira, room to room, step by step, quiet as a shadow. Whenever she sat down, he curled beside her. Whenever she lay in bed, he rested against her chest, purring softly, like he was trying to make her heart beat a little easier. Mira had grown used to silence. After losing her mother, her apartment often felt like a space filled with echoes. But now, with Knox there, the silence felt warm instead of empty. He didn't demand affection. He simply existed beside her, patiently, lovingly, as though he understood the kind of companionship she needed. Days turned into weeks, and everyone who saw Knox would say the same thing. "That cat is obsessed with you. He never leaves your side. What is it about you that he loves so much?" Mira never knew how to answer. She didn't feel special. She didn't feel like someone a cat would choose with so much devotion. But Knox made his choice clearly, and he made it every single day. People underestimate cats. They mistake their independence for emotional distance. But the truth is, cats feel deeply. They love deeply. And they choose their person based on something more profound than simple care. They choose based on energy, safety, emotional connection, and the kind of heart they sense behind your actions. Knox had sensed something in Mira, a softness she had forgotten she possessed. But life wasn't gentle with her. Even after finding Knox, she struggled. She worked long hours at the bakery and then at a small bookstore to cover rent and food. She barely had enough for herself, let alone for a cat. Her coworkers constantly reminded her that pets were expensive and she should give Knox away. They said she couldn't afford it, that caring for a cat would only make her life harder. But when something chooses you in a way that feels like destiny, you don't give it up just because life gets complicated. Mira kept Knox, and Knox kept choosing her. One morning, however, everything changed. Knox refused breakfast. He refused water. His little body seemed weak, and he barely lifted his head when she called his name. Panic shot through her. She couldn't lose him. Not the only companion who saw her heart, even when she hid it from the world. She rushed him to the nearest vet. The news came quickly. Dehydration, infection, treatable, but expensive. Mira stared at the bill with dread. She didn't have the money. She barely had enough for groceries. But when Knox weakly rested his head on her arm, she made her choice. She worked extra shifts. She borrowed money. She skipped meals. She cut every expense possible. She did everything she could because Knox wasn't just a pet. He was a piece of her heart. The treatments went on for weeks. Slowly, Knox recovered, his eyes brightening again, his purr returning softly each night. When he finally walked toward her and nuzzled her hand like he always used to, Mira felt something warm bloom inside her. Relief, yes, but also love. A love that only grows stronger when it has been tested. And Knox loved her too. Not because she bought him toys or fancy cat food, but because she showed him the kind of loyalty he had never known. Cats remember kindness. They remember safety. They remember the hands that lift them out of darkness. A few months later, life hit Mira again. The bakery she worked at shut down without warning. Suddenly she had only one job, and even that one didn't pay enough to keep her afloat. Bills stacked up. Stress climbed. Sleep became rare. One night, Mira broke. She sank to the kitchen floor with her back against the cabinets and let the tears fall. She cried for the pressure, for the fear of losing her home, for the exhaustion that never seemed to end. She cried for her mother. She cried for herself. And Knox, sensing every tremble of her breath, walked over and climbed into her lap. He pressed his warm little body against her chest and purred a deep, steady vibration that soothed her shaking hands. He didn't fix anything. He didn't have to. He simply stayed. That night, Mira held Knox close, tears falling into his fur, and whispered, "Thank you for choosing me." In that moment, something shifted inside her. She realized that Knox wasn't just comforting her. He was trying to teach her something. He was showing her that even during the hardest days, she wasn't alone. He was showing her the power of gentle love, the kind of love that stays when nothing else does. Inspired by that feeling, Mira decided to fight back. She updated her resume. She applied for better positions. She pushed past fear and self-doubt. She attended interviews with more confidence, telling herself silently, "If Knox believes in me, maybe I should." After weeks of trying, she finally received a phone call that changed everything. She was offered a manager position at the bookstore, a stable income, regular hours, a job that valued her. When she hung up the phone, she burst into tears again, this time from joy. Knox meowed and climbed onto her shoulder, as if celebrating with her. Mira laughed through her tears and whispered, "We made it, Knox. We really made it, with time." Everything improved. Her financial stress eased. Her home became more peaceful. The bond between her and Knox only deepened. He remained by her side through every moment, good or bad. People kept asking the same question: "Why does that cat love you so much?" And the answer was simple: Cats love certain people because they feel safe with them. They choose the ones who give them peace, patience, quiet affection, and steady kindness. Cats love the hearts that don't force, don't demand, don't overwhelm. They love the souls that speak softly even when they're hurting. They sense emotions, they sense honesty. They sense who will protect them the same way they give silent protection in return. Knox chose Mira because she stopped for him when no one else did, because her heart recognized his fear, because her hands brought him warmth, because her presence made him feel safe enough to love again. And Mira chose Knox because he reminded her that even during the hardest times, love can find you in the smallest, quietest ways. Their story becomes the answer to the question so many people wonder. Why do cats love certain people? Because they know who will love them back, not with loud promises, but with gentle actions. And maybe that's the truth we all need to hear. Sometimes the ones we rescue us right back. So the next time a cat chooses to sit beside you, sleep on your chest, or follow you from room to room, remember this. They are choosing you for reasons deeper than you realize. They saw something in you that felt like home. Something soft, something sincere, something safe. Cats never love by accident. When they love you, it is deliberate, quiet, powerful, and real. Thank you for watching Cat Fact Class. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more emotional cat stories and deep insights into feline behavior. Your support helps this channel grow and allows us to continue bringing you stories that celebrate the beautiful bond between humans and cats. Until next time, take care of your cats, take care of your heart, and remember the simple truth Knox taught Mira. Love always finds its way to those who give it gently.